Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk's Flashpoint. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Flashpoint. Thank you so much for being with us today. Flashpoint is a new adjunct online video series that Art and Talk has launched. And Flashpoint is where artists share key pointers, insights, tips, recommendations, insights in their area of creative expression. So Flashpoint has an instructional teaching tone to it. And today our guest is a returning guest. She just recently was on our sister series with Flashpoint called Flash, and she was a poet on the panel. So today we're going to explore with our Flashpoint both poetry and our guest visual art. So I'd like to go ahead and welcome today our guest, Lithium Rainbow. Welcome to Flashpoint.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. We enjoyed having you so much on our recent Flash as a poet, and now having you to be on our Flashpoint to share about your poetry and your visual art.
Which I'm super excited. I love everything that you're doing, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into, would you like to start with your poetry?
Okay, yeah, definitely. I picked out a couple poems here that I have. The first one I'm going to talk about is a little gruesome, but I would like to, it's called Medium Rare, and it just says, my body is a butchery and every cut is select. And the thing that I wanted to speak about with this poem is poetry doesn't have to be long. It can be short. You just let it out. It could be 2 lines, 1 line, whatever. And my muse in that was unfortunately self-harm. I've been clean from self-harm for over a year, but this poetry has definitely helped with that. And you just getting it out. So that was the first one. Let's see here. Honestly, when it comes to poetry, the first thing that I do is look for a muse. So as seen in the Flash video, my muse right away was my boyfriend. I have some poems here where other people are my muse. Like this one here. This one is called Pulling Teeth. And it is, sometimes I'm the dentist, sometimes I'm your favorite treat. Reschedule your appointment and indulge in me, or sit inside my waiting room so I could take care of your teeth. I never thought I'd compare myself to a cavity. Maybe it's because you're holding me in captivity. So tell me what's a girl to do. I'm tired of pulling teeth trying to talk to you. I'm sure so many people can relate to that. I mean, talking to anybody really. So when it comes to poetry, and again, it doesn't have to rhyme or anything. It's just getting it all out. And yeah.
So I love your approach. Basically, Lithium Rainbow, you have a way of where you want to have a muse as kind of like the catalyst for the way you're going to approach your poem. And you also use art as healing as well.
Oh yeah, art is definitely a huge healer for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got this poem here that I wrote just about emotion. And this is another short one. I really like it. It's just a sentence, but there's something poetic about being sad, she said, not realizing that there's poetry in all emotions. I'm sure as you've seen a lot of my work is really depressing. So unfortunately, when I'm really down, depression is like my muse, and it's a good way to channel it, but it sucks feeling those emotions. Sometimes it feels like I have to hit rock bottom before I can write something. Like I have to be really down. And that's what I really liked about the Flashpoint, is because I wasn't depressed when I wrote it. And then I've got here my sketchbook. Going to the, because this kind of goes in with my, when I go to painting, a lot of the time I will sketch it. Can you, yeah, sketch it before I end up painting it. I did this back with the whole George Floyd thing with the police, a political piece. And here, excuse me, Wampa Jane. I ended up painting it out and I enjoy the painting a lot better. It says blood and bacon, and obviously referring to the police as cops, or the cops as pigs, and just the riots and everything, just getting out emotion. So with painting, I usually just put the brush or to the canvas and just go at it. I don't really have a plan 9 times out of 10. If I do sketch it out first, I mean, I have that visual, but unfortunately I couldn't find the painting for it. Which sketch here? I have this sketch here of eyes and barbed wire, and I redid it as a painting and included like a girl figure in it, and it turned out quite beautifully. The best advice I could give is to just go with the flow, let your heart guide you. And even if you're not, even if you don't think you're that great at it, like personally, I definitely think I can be better. I'm not the worst artist, but I'm definitely not the best. This one is a Egyptian painting that I did. I really love Egypt. And I mean, the scarab, I definitely see flaws in it, but from afar, you just gotta do what you love and get out what you like and find what makes you happy. It's like Bob Ross, happy little trees, happy little strokes. Here's the Joker that I did. It says you wouldn't get it. And the last piece of painting I have to show, this one is it's basic. I did it during the quarantine with my mom and my little brother, and it's just all 3 of our handprints together, and it says we're good because we're together, we have each other. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's basically the message with that one in art. You just do what you feel.
Yeah, you've given us some great flashpoints. So your whole premise is really just kind of go with the flow, kind of be in the moment, just get it out, and be heart-centered, which is so beautiful, and just kind of just like this beautiful, like very spontaneous kind of energy and approach into your art.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I really don't plan things. A lot of the time, if I sketch something I really like, then I will plan on painting it. But I have a lot of paintings like the scarab that I showed. I didn't sketch that out. I just went for it. And a lot of my stuff, when it comes to my art, has like hands or eyes or an Egyptian theme to it. I love abstract. So that's part of my whole go with the flow thing. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't, as long as it sparks something in you. Art is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So all that matters is that you got out whatever you needed to get out, especially if you're someone like me who used to self-harm, or somebody that still is self-harming. I used to think of my body as a canvas, and the razor as, I don't want to get too into it, but it's so much healthier to get it out this way. And I'm not ashamed of my scars, but there's a lot less scarring and it's much prettier. So yeah, I definitely have a spontaneous thing with my art.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're also covering a lot of serious themes as well, and some like with historical and a lot of symbology as well. So can we touch upon a little bit more about using art for healing? As you said, you were experiencing, self-harm, some things with depression, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. I think, there's others that'll be watching that also can relate to it, and perhaps are using or will start to use art as a form of healing. So talk to us about, once you get one of these poems out, or doing the sketching and then the paintings, or just a very impromptu painting. Of course, you touched upon some societal issues as well. Talk to us about the healing that you feel you have received once you complete the art piece, or how does this all play out for you, Lithium Rainbow?
Well, the healing is like, once you finish it and you look at it and you just see something beautiful, it definitely just helps feel better. Picking up the pen to putting the pen to the pencil, the paintbrush to the canvas. It's a lot of the same motion as, if one were to slit their wrists or another body part. So you're doing the same motions, but you're getting a better result. And a lot of people that do suffer from self-harm, a lot of it, they know better. They know they shouldn't be doing it, but it's the repetition, the movements. So picking up something else and doing it that way is definitely very healing. The hardest part is to not be a critic over your art. Because obviously when you get down to that point, you're already feeling low and everything. So when you look at it, I've trained myself to see something beautiful, but it took time. I used to look at my art and hate it. I used to look at it and throw it away. I used to, the healing process, it is rewiring your brain to use those motions instead of the bad ones, and learning to see it as a beautiful perspective, no matter what. I've done a doodle of a ghost poop, and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. So you just have to not be so hard on yourself and rewire your brain, because art will be there for you. You just have to let it.
Yeah, those are some great flashpoints as well. Just like, art will be there for you, and not to be critical of your art, not to be so focused on, I think also the final product. And then when you have it, to kind of embrace it. And as you said, Lithium Rainbow, to see it as something beautiful. And it sounds like you kind of go into that mindset now. You said it took a little while, but now you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to create something beautiful, and whatever it is, it is. And I'm just getting that out, with that emotion, that angst,
Exactly.
self-loathing, whatever it is, you're just going to like get it out in a constructive and creative, artistic way.
Exactly. And 9 times out of 10, your art isn't going to come out how you picture it in your head. Because obviously when we picture ourselves, we picture these grandiose things. Going back to my scarab, for example, I pictured it being a beautiful, realistic, pretty, regular scarab. And I ended up making it blue with red eyes. I still love this, but you can't really notice the ankh in the background because I did my scarab too large.
Can you hold it up just a little so we can see? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to see unless you already know that there's an ankh in the background, because the scarab was a little too large. But I still love it, and I love Egyptian culture, and I'm very proud of that right there. So the best thing to do is find things that you love and try to recreate them. Like I showed you the Joker that I did. I could never I had to look at a picture while I was doing that. I could never just randomly pull a Joker out of my hat, but you just go for it. I felt like the Joker that day, so I did it. And
what attracted you? Like you said, you felt like the Joker. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? That kind of was your muse, and then you did like the painting for it.
Well, I was going through a time where I was watching the new Joker movie a lot. And I was depressed, going back and forth between depression and manic, and I was in a job that I hated. It was really hard for me to be there, and I just felt trapped, and I felt like I was going insane. There's a scene where he like hides himself in the refrigerator. Like he's so skinny that he folds himself up, and I felt like doing that.
Mhm.
So that's why I did the Joker, and you wouldn't get it. Like I didn't feel like anybody else would get how I felt. So.
And then once you completed that, did you feel like a sense of kind of like, I don't know, coming home, or just like, did you feel a sense of just like okay, a little bit more of that sense of balance, and a sense more of just, expressing that feeling, and all these things that you were saying that were going on? And
Oh yeah, especially after completing that piece, even though, like I said, I had to look at another picture and everything. When I got done with it, that was one of the pieces that made me realize that, like, okay, I'm actually an all right artist. Like, I didn't just buy all these supplies for them to go to waste. Because it's actually kind of funny. The whole reason I got into art is, uh, I don't know if anybody knows what Pat Catan's is. It used to be a craft store. And we had one here in town that was going out of business. And I was like, I have this money, they're going out of business, everything's going to be super cheap. So I went in there and spent like $200 on art supplies. Never picked anything up in my life, like other than my poetry. I'd never done anything else. I was like, I'm going to become a painter. And I did it, and I love it.
yeah, and I love that initiative. Just everything kind of lined up. The store's going out of business. You have some money. You're going to get some good deals, and you just went for it. So, that says a lot. Really taking that initiative and that openness to explore some unknown territory.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought that I was just gonna like throw paint and go wild and scream, just like have some crazy meditative session throwing paint and screaming. But I enjoy using, like, painting is probably my favorite art form.
Mhm, mhm. And I also love Lithium Rainbow, the one that you did in lockdown. I thought that was such a beautiful symbol of all three hands kind of merging into one. What a beautiful symbol of unity, and representing, your loved ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's super simple. Anybody could do it. And it definitely means a lot to all of us, all three of us, my mom, my little brother, me, like, and yeah, anybody could do something like that. Art is subjective, and you just you start with easier pieces and then move yourself on when you feel ready to.
Yeah, yeah. And I just like to touch upon Lithium Rainbow, the poem, where you said sometimes, a person sort of ignites the influence, or muse, as you said, for a
Yeah.
poem. Now, the one that you did with that was related to your boyfriend, your significant other, and you equated it with dental and teeth,
Yeah.
now, once you wrote that, in terms of your poetry being healing, did it help in terms of your perspective of that relationship? Did it have another type of healing that it elicited once you wrote out that poem?
Oh yeah, it definitely I definitely felt better. I have a lot of poems about this particular person, and looking back now, I know it definitely helped healing wise. Um, at the time, though, I think that I was just doing it because it came to my head. A lot of the time, when I start with a poem, the line just pops in my head, and it stays there until I write it down and get it out. Like I will, like a song stuck in your head, it'll be just like that.
Mhm. So it sounds like the words are, once you get that first line with your poetry, then it sounds like everything else just kind of comes. You just have to keep your hand moving.
Yep, exactly. It's quite nice. When I get started, it's an easy process. It's getting started that's the hard part.
Mhm.
The finding a worthy muse, because I mean, you don't want to pour your soul into just anything. Obviously, I've written poetry about toxic relationships, abusive relationships. I've poured my soul into a lot of the wrong people. And now I'm working on pouring it into the right places, having sunnier work, and it's different. It's harder. Happy is hard, but art helps, and you just have to keep pushing for it, because if that's what you want, then you will not stop until you get it at any costs.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really beautiful, Lithium Rainbow. And I so appreciate everything, that you've been sharing, and how you, as you said, you pour your soul into your art, and, just your authenticity, and, your sense of rawness. And also, I love you say, just like keeping it simple, and, just letting your heart guide you. And I love your creative soul, and I can just see, the way you look at things is really quite beautiful, and taking the scarab and representing it, and even as you had elaborated on presenting it in your own unique way. It doesn't have to be, a conventional view. It could be, but you can also have some artistic license and represent it in a different way. And then also your influences with, some, pop culture, just looking kind of like at the Joker, and then using your relationships with yourself, and with others as, through art as a healing modality. I find that, so beautiful.
Thank you. It is really raw and it can be really hard at times, but honestly, the simple route is the best route. You can't go wrong going simple. So you just sit down, do what you got to do, get it out.
Mhm. And as you said, sitting down is kind of like half the battle, because sometimes there might be some procrastination there, but once you actually get yourself in that spot, that magic can open with the paintbrush, or the pen and paper with the poetry.
Exactly. And I mean, sometimes you just got to find your right tool. Sometimes I'll pick up the paintbrush and it just won't click. So I go to the pen, and that's what I need at that time. All forms of art, once you capture the magic of one, the magic of all of them kind of come together, and you just appreciate it all. You kind of become a jack of all trades.
Mhm.
You just have to allow yourself to.
That's beautiful. You've given us so many great flashpoints, all across the board. We do need to close out this Flashpoint show. Like we do with all of our series, we'd like to leave you any closing comments. If there's another Flashpoint or tip you'd like to share with us, with poetry or your visual arts, and then also let us know how we can stay connected with you.
I just want to actually show one more piece of art that I did, since we've gotten into the Egyptian stuff. I did this. It's kind of hard to see here, but I wasn't sure if I was going to share her or not, and I decided that I want to. I did paint her as well. She's a little bit different. I have her on the wall, but that's, taking my own spin on the culture and doing that. So I just thought that's my last piece I'd like to leave with. Some beautiful art.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the whole Egyptian thing. Yeah, it was a great. Can we call it a drawing? We call it a sketch. Do you have a preference?
Oh, that one, yeah, it's a drawing or a sketch. It's in my sketchbook. So
And have you done the painting on that one?
yeah, I have her hanging up on my wall. If we have 5 seconds, I could probably grab her down.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. Whoa, yeah.
And as you can see, it's a little different from the sketch, but I still love it. So
Yeah, very good. All right. So we'll need to close out our flashpoint today. And of course, thanking you so much for sharing with us how you use art for healing, and sharing so many wonderful flashpoints with us, some key insights and how you approach and think about your art, and how it's helped you with your own healing and self-discovery. And I think with so many artists, I think they can relate to that as well. Any final comments that you'd like to share, Lithium Rainbow, and let us know how we can stay connected with you.
Thank you again for having me. Staying connected, I have a Facebook page called Inside a Chaotic Mind, which is where I post my poetry and my art. That's pretty much all I use for poetry and art. So that's how we could stay connected. And thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Lithium Rainbow, again. And best wishes with everything. I love everything that you're doing, and sharing so much from your heart with us, and through your art. So stay connected. Let us know of new
Definitely.
developments and what's going on with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching Flashpoint today. If you are a professional artist working in any creative field, in any art genre, and you're interested in being on our Flashpoint, if you could send an email to us at viewoftheartist@gmail.com, or get in touch with us on our Facebook page. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So do stay connected with us. Thank you again for watching Flashpoint, and we'll talk soon on the next Flashpoint. Until then, be well and be blessed.